Hey, welcome back. So you're probably wondering why I'm reacting to Penguin0, but I've received many requests to check out his videos. As you know, I'm constantly looking for people to react to, and a few of you pointed me in this direction. This is the first time I'm reacting to Penguin0. I think that's his name, right? I want to make sure, yeah. Penguin0. And this video is titled, I Didn't Want to Talk About This.
So I'll go ahead and cannonball into the septic tank and doggy paddle around for a bit. The main topic involves a banned YouTube creator that I'm sure you've all heard of before. His name is...
I could tell he has dry humor. I like that.
Sneako.
Oh,
a lot
Sneako.
of people compared him to like a diet Andrew Tate. He recently got banned and he still does make content elsewhere. And recently he started targeting me because I made jokes about his friends.
See, I am somewhat familiar with Sneako. I saw his debate with Destiny on the topic of race and IQ. I'm not a big fan of Sneako, to be honest, but I will try my best to be as clear-minded and objective as I possibly can as I react to this video.
On the Fresh and Fit podcast, whom I think are beautiful clowns that do some very silly stuff that is entirely entertaining to make fun of. But Sneako didn't see it that way because he's a very sensitive guy, and he started writing their wieners to try and defend a blatantly outrageous story that one of them told about meeting a basketball player at a party, then being invited by that basketball player to a mansion and then fucking a ton of girls at that mansion thanks to the basketball player, which sounds like something a Tumblr account would have made up, and ending with, and everybody clapped. It was such a goofy piece of fan fiction, it felt like he was begging to be humiliated and made fun of, so I started throwing some balls at the clown and dunking them in the tank. I made a video talking and joking about it, and Sneako saw this and he wasn't too happy, so he got offended on his friend's behalf, which of course is a very alpha male thing to do. I know Sneako doesn't like that nomenclature. He never calls himself an alpha male and thinks that it belittles him, but his fan base is and has been red-pilled and thinks of him as like a no-nonsense kind of guy who tells it like it is, a man's man. And yet Sneako cries more than a 12-year-old going through puberty and has very public temper tantrums.
That's true. I've made a few observations about Sneako's behavior, and of course you never know what part of his portrayal is a character versus who he actually is, but it seems from the outside looking in that he is very confrontational, very insulting. You know, I think back to the video I reacted to a few weeks ago of his appearance on Fresh and Fit with djakademiks, where he was making fun of a woman for having a deep voice and implying that she was actually a man. You know, just very combative, very confrontational. He also has a low threshold for disagreement, and it seems like when you disagree with him, he reverts to name calling. You know, I've heard him call people bots before. I'm still not necessarily sure what that means. I think that is code word for being a conformist, you know, someone who follows the rules blindly without asking any questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. There's nothing wrong with going against the establishment. But when you couple that discontent with some of the conspiracy theories he's known to peddle in regards to Jewish people and the vaccines, it's not a good combination. It's not a good combination. It seems a bit irresponsible to be putting out misinformation and doing it under the banner of being a free thinker when that's not necessarily what your brand represents. It represents a very rigid way of thinking that no one else can disagree with, and if they do, they get called names. So those are the reasons I'm not the biggest fan of Sneako.
So he was upset because I was making fun of them. He then makes a big rant about me, calling me a bitch, saying all kinds of things. He doesn't really make any points. He just insults my appearance a lot and makes very bold assumptions about me not going outside and shit like that, which of course has nothing to do with anything I was saying, nor does it debunk any of my points. Not that I was even really making points, I was just making jokes about a silly fucking story, and he's taking it as if I just gave a TED Talk on monogamy, because for some reason he somehow gets lost in like this Winter Soldier episode, like this delusional fantasy where he starts making a statement on monogamy. which of course had nothing to do with the video I made.
I'm not gonna say names. Someone texted me. He's in a monogamous relationship. This is his girl.
Well, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Is that supposed to be a shot at his girl, or why he's even including her in the conversation is something that's beyond me. I just have trouble understanding the disrespect that these social media influencers demonstrate. Oftentimes it is unprompted, unsolicited, and unnecessary. If you have a beef with a guy, then keep your beef between you and him, unless you know his girl personally. And if you don't, then leave her out of it.
Because when you get brainwashed, when you get told that monogamy is the answer.
What the fuck are you even talking about? What does this have to do with anything? What does bringing up a picture of me and my girlfriend have anything to do with anything that has happened? And where is monogamy even coming from? You're fighting an invisible enemy right now. You're fighting ghosts that aren't real. Like, none of this had anything to do with the video itself of me joking about a stupid fucking story that this guy told. Like, it's so weird, and he's been mad ever since, as I understand it. I, of course, don't really watch him, but I keep getting updates on Sneako not being happy, wiggling his finger, saying, I don't really like this Charlie guy anymore for this. Now, like I said, because so many people keep bringing this up to me every day, I felt...
Oh, so his name is Charlie, but he calls himself Penguin.
Obligated to at least, talk about this a little bit and engage with the drama, even though I don't really want to. What I do want to talk about, though, is the Black Friday Moist Global merch sale, baby. A lot of great merch on Moist Global.
This is his clothing brand. It's not bad. It doesn't look bad. It looks pretty cool, actually, but I usually skip ahead on the ads. But
I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about this. I am pretty familiar with Sneako, probably more so than a lot of his more modern fan base is. I first became aware of his content when he got mad at me a couple years ago because I was criticizing a movie called Cuties.
I usually don't comment on people's appearance, but I envy this guy's eyebrows, I wish my eyebrows were as full as his are.
Don't know, Cuties was a movie that went to Netflix, and it was basically just softcore child porn. It was a movie that focused on...
And he's got a pretty cool beard, too.
A coming-of-age film that used real children in real positions of like sexualization.
Ooh.
Where during like a twerking contest they'd have cameras that would go like right into their ass and zoom in. It was fucking disgusting stuff, and I made a whole video talking about how fucked up it is that not only does it exist, but Netflix has promoted it and it's on their service. Regardless of what the intention was or what the message aimed to deliver from the director, it completely missed the mark. By using real child actors and doing the things that they did in the film, it became a movie that was only enjoyed by legitimate, real, self-admitted pedophiles. And I made a video talking about how gross that whole situation was, and Sneako made a response to it.
Americans are like, this is deplorable. I saw this commentator, Penguin Zero, who I actually like. There's not a lot of good commentators, but he's like, this movie is deplorable. There's nothing good about it. There's nothing. And it's like he didn't even watch the movie. It's just like he only saw the clips that were gonna piss him off. Or he just got so triggered by the provocative imagery that he just, deplorable. Come on, man. Like, don't you see the reasons why she's doing what she's doing?
Okay, so it sounds like they disagree about the meaning that is embedded in the movie and the points that it's trying to make, which I think after listening to Charlie and after listening to Sneako, it sounds like a conversation worth having. How society sexualizes minors at a very young age, and maybe the movie might have been a satirical piece that kind of pointed out that irony through featuring children in scandalous clothing. And I could understand why there would be negative backlash to that, but why some people might appreciate its artistic value and the cultural meaning behind it. But I don't think they have to be mean to each other just because they disagree on the movie and the point that it is or isn't trying to make.
Reasons why she's doing what she's doing.
Sneako has said multiple times, even in his most recent rant, that he does like my content, though I'm pretty sure he just says that to cushion the blow and like tiptoe around it, like before insulting me. Just in case there's anyone in his chat that likes my content, he wants to make sure to not make them upset. So he makes sure to preface it by saying, well, I actually do like him, but... and then goes on to get super personal about it. This was my first real exposure to Sneako, and it's also the reason I don't care what his opinion is of me, because it's coming from a man who likes Cuties. So why the fuck would it matter if he thinks I'm a bitch or anything like that? it legitimately couldn't mean less coming from a guy who openly defends a softcore child porn production.
Okay, if I ever wanted to get canceled, this is the video. I saw Cuties last night, and it was pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. I went in ready to hate like everybody else. I saw the cover.
Oh, that's the name of the movie. So it sounds like he's not saying he liked it because of how it portrayed the girls, but because of the message it conveyed indirectly. I don't know. I could be getting it wrong because I haven't seen the movie.
The thing about Cuties is it's not an unrealistic film. Like, yes, it shows children in a sexual way, but this is not unusual now. And the people who are really mad about this aren't Gen Z.
Now, the reason I'm showing this isn't just to debate a multiple-year-old Sneako video that he completely ate shit on and had the worst possible take of with this whole cutie situation. The reason I'm showing this is because I haven't liked him since I saw this side of him. I was aware that he made other content, and apparently some of it was pretty good a couple years back, but once I saw this video, it just showed me a really weird guy who it seemed like really just wanted to be contrarian for the sake of it, and makes terrible points in defense of this film for some reason. Like, even in your own video, you openly admit right there that yes, it sexualizes children. Full stop, that's not okay. That's a problem.
Yeah, I could see where you're coming from, but it sounds like to Sneako, the ends justify the means because the movie is conveying a much larger message about a social issue that society has yet to address head on, which is the over-sexualization of kids at a young age. Again, I don't know because I haven't seen it yet, but I could definitely see both sides of the argument.
Full stop, that's not okay. That's a problem.
Like, this girl, at one point, she takes a picture of her vagina and posts it on Instagram. Kids naturally just rebel. I like this movie because it's extremely provocative, but it's realistic. A major criticism of this film was that it's child porn, that they were just showing these kids and that it's gonna bring a bunch of pedophiles in.
Yeah, but just because something is provocative and realistic doesn't make it appropriate, you know, and doesn't mean that it should go without being challenged, right? There are plenty of things that are provocative and yet realistic, like the vaping culture. That is provocative and realistic, but enough research has been done on it over the past few years that scientists and medical professionals have in unison concluded that it's a very unhealthy practice.
I don't think so. Not more than anything else that's on the internet now, or not more than beauty pageants in America, which still exist and are exactly what you see in the film.
Do you go to beauty pageants to watch the kids, Sneako? I certainly hope not. Just because the beauty pageants, which are fucked up, completely agree, just because those exist in the real world doesn't mean that that's justification for this movie. I feel like that should be obvious. You can't use this whataboutism like, oh yeah, Cuties has a lot of sexualization of children, but what about, you know, child beauty pageants? I mean, those are out there in the real world.
Well, it's true, and I think both practices can be wrong, you know, making a movie that draws attention to the sexuality of minors, and also beauty pageants that do the same thing, but in a more formal way.
I won't show you any more from this video. It's dog shit all across the board. But there is one more thing I'd like to highlight. Even when Sneako started to rise to popularity, I didn't pay too much attention because, again, in my mind, he will always be that guy that for some reason fights for this film, which is just fucking weird. So he's always just been kind of a weird person to me that I don't pay too much attention to. But I couldn't help but take notice of one of his more recent viral clips where he openly defends getting cucked.
So I wanted to break this down, like, because this was, imagine seeing the girl you love, like,
get fucked.
You
love her?
Yeah, I do. I love her. Yeah, love her. I was about to say I love this bitch. I'm like, no, let me not say that. I love my wifey, my queen.
And you allowed the love of your life to get fucked by another man.
What happened to the other women?
I'm crazy.
The first time, as soon as I saw it, like 3 pumps in, I just got up and walked. Like, feeling traumatic thoughts, like seeing her with another person. It's a lot. But I think it's something everybody should do just to test.
Oh, he tried to be a swinger. Him and his girlfriend tried out swinging, but they didn't continue because he realized that, you know, it made him uncomfortable. Okay. Is that what's going on right now, y'all?
No. You know what?
It is a legitimately super sad thing to sit there and listen to because Sneako is very clearly bothered by that whole situation, but is trying to play it off like a deeper message like, no, this is actually a good thing. And in fact, I recommend every guy out there try letting their girl get fucked by another man. then you'll know if it's real, if this is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. It is fucking tragic.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that. I think if you want to be in an open relationship and you want to engage in, sex parties with your partner, then have at it and more power to you. But I don't think it's something that YouTubers should feel comfortable prescribing to everybody. And that's one of my issues with YouTubers, is when they go around telling their audience what they should or shouldn't do, how they should or shouldn't live life. That's a big problem I have with them.
To listen to. Now, I want to be clear, I have absolutely no problem with open relationships. I think everyone should be completely within the right to handle their relationships however they see fit and whatever makes them happiest. Contrary to what Sneako thinks about me, I have legitimately no issue with open relationships at all. But what Sneako's talking about here isn't so much an open relationship, it's cuckoldry. You have watched your girl get fucked in front of you on at least 2 occasions that he talks about here. And you were right next to her, watching her get fucked, and one time you were so upset about it you had to leave the room after the 3rd pump, you said. You're clearly not really all right with this situation. You're for some reason forcing yourself to be okay with it. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and be an armchair psychologist like you try to do against me during your rants, but it really seems like you don't like it. And yet, for some reason, you're also trying to celebrate it and promote it like a good thing. It's just super sad.
That is a contradiction. Yeah, that is a contradiction that I noticed.
Like, if you're fucking other girls and she's fucking other guys, that's one thing, but you being in the same bed that she is fucking another man in and watching her, and then even talking about how, like, upset you were about how much she was moaning and the deep eye contact she was making with the man she was fucking in front of you, like, you're not really okay with it, it sounds like. So stop trying to pretend to be, and stop trying to make it seem like this is a good, healthy thing for everyone that everyone needs to try. It's just pretty sad. So this is always in the back of my mind when he starts critiquing my relationship, or really any relationship for that matter. Like, what really gives you the right, especially when you're clearly in a very complicated situation in your own mind with your relationship? So, like I said, I didn't really want to talk about this, but he apparently keeps shitting on me and making a big hoopla about it, and people keep bringing it up to me, so I felt like I should at least address it in some capacity. So this is me talking about it, and that's about it.
Wow, this was a really interesting video. And I think it could be summarized with the old saying, you shouldn't throw stones if you live in a glass house. With that said, I hope Sneako and Charlie are able to resolve their issues and, both go on to live happy and healthy lives. If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about the situation in the comments section. See you later. Peace.